This is Henares making your day with part 27 of a book I wrote on the destiny of the Filipino people. Subject: unfair treaties with the United States. My friends, listen to this. There is the Rescission Act passed by the U.S. Congress and signed into law by President Harry Truman on February 18, 1946. Rescission is defined as the revocation, cancellation, or repeal of a law, order, or agreement. What was rescinded? A July 26, 1941 order by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt to the effect that those serving in the military forces of the government of the Commonwealth of the Philippines would be considered in the service of the armed forces of the United States. In other words, with the rescission, the estimated 200,000 to 250,000 Filipinos who fought in the World War II shall not be deemed to be or to have been in the military or national forces of the United States, and therefore not entitled to any rights, privileges, or benefits pertaining thereto. They were stripped of veteran status with one stroke of the pen. This is the unkindest cut of all. The Philippines was the only one out of 66 countries with similar non-U.S. citizen veterans that was rescinded. So much for friendship. Then there's a matter about post-war foreign exchange rate. In a small, open economy, managing the exchange rate is the single most important macroeconomic policy. Even though our independence was recognized by America, the Philippines could not change its exchange rate without permission from the President of the United States. Philippine exchange rate was 2 pesos to $1 before the war, while the Japanese U.S. exchange rate was 3 yen to $1. After the war, we were kept to the pre-war rates, making it easier for American interests to get the most dollars for their pesos, while the Japanese switched to 360 yen per dollar. The Philippines had its first foreign exchange crisis in 1950, while Japan had an export boom that left the Philippines far behind. We have been limping along uncompetitively since then. To add insult to injury, the import control situation caused by scarcity of foreign exchange. Imports were so cheap, our exports were relatively expensive, led to the 10%ers and the increased acceptability of government corruption. More about this after these messages. This is Henares making your day with part 27 of a book I wrote on the destiny of the Filipino people. Subject: unfair treaties with the United States. Last example is one of a mission, not commission. Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and China are the most successful countries in Asia as far as growth is concerned. They have at least one thing in common. They concentrated on land reform, family-type agriculture as the basic first step. Japan, South Korea, Taiwan had another thing in common. Their land reform was more or less imposed by the United States after World War II. The Philippines, however, escaped that imposition. Americans of low IQ interfered in our elections and political affairs, defending American monopoly, sabotaging our land reform with the Prosterman plan of driving our landed class to penury, perpetuating the feudal system, sabotaging our efforts at industrialization, and making sure that we remain an agricultural, export-oriented economy, a vegetable garden to the industrial societies of Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. Worse than that, Americans seduced Filipinos to fight their wars with them in Korea, in Vietnam, in Iraq, and against Arab terrorism directed against them, but while refusing to defend us against our enemies, against Great Britain and Australia, mobilizing in Singapore for a preemptive strike against the Philippines, reclaiming Sabah stolen from them by British conmen against Malaysian interference with our Muslim dissidents and separatists. We need to prioritize our foreign policy towards disengagement from the clutches of American imperialism, towards our ASEAN brothers and our Asian neighbors, especially South Korea, Japan, India, and China, who are more than willing to help us get rid of our colonial mentality that has made us the American servant boy in the United Nations and an attack dog against American enemies among the Arabs, the Russians, the Chinese, and the colored races of the world. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.